Hello everyone and welcome back to the Story Nook. I keep forgetting my Zoom is broken because half the keys on this keyboard don't work. But hello everyone, welcome back to the Story Nook. Don't mind the pitter-patter of the rain as I am sitting in my car in the rain waiting on my hubby to get off of work. But today, we're going to be reading some wholesome stories from r/wholesome stories. I wanted, some cute wholesome shit to read, and so I queued up a whole bunch of wholesome stories several days ago. And did not record shit. But our first story is from City Cat 5006. From my old job, smiley face. Been kind of wanting to share this somewhere for a while, and just remembered for a reason. I'll explain. I used to be a receptionist at a massage spa. I almost read that as message, and I apologize greatly. When I was 16/17. It was a really great job, and I only left because I moved for college. I would set up appointments and greet clients, but most of my time was back in the break room cleaning, doing laundry, etc. All the therapists there were over 25, pretty much, and disregarded me as being part of the workplace, so I overheard everyone talk about everyone. Absolutely no discretion with me, because I was only pals with a few therapists who gave me the time of day, and nobody considered I might pay attention. There was this one therapist there, who I think was either autistic or had a developmental issue. She was a good therapist, and super sweet, but of course, had some quirks. Sorry. That was a burp. I drank some ginger ale earlier. Most everyone was nice to her, including me, and she would kinda confide in me because I was someone who consistently worked similar hours and was actually respectful to her. I heard some passing comments about her and how she walked or was weird, and they rubbed me the wrong way, but I was pretty quiet. Anyways, one time it was just the two of us in the break room, and she mentioned how she heard somebody make a comment like that about her. She was pretty clearly upset, and I was like, blank, that's so dumb and ridiculous. Why would they say that? You're so awesome, etc. Because she is. And it absolutely broke my heart, because she was upset in a profound way and totally understood what was said, which I think those therapists didn't consider she was capable of. I didn't always get her, but we had some solidarity, and I had her back if it came to it. Hearing her out and treating her normally is pretty bare minimum, and I don't think I did anything except listen to her when so many people didn't have the patience to even try. I wasn't trying to be like a good person about it, but I was one of the only people who would even put effort into talking to her. Even some therapists who were nice still wrote her off because it took her some time to get out what she wanted to say. I didn't think anything of it, and it baffles me that everyone didn't have that decency. So I'm moving states for college. Got a sweet little surprise cookie cake from my unofficial supervisor. I took over in the evenings pretty much when I left school, and she picked up her kids. Love her too. So we sell essential oils and room spas and candles, etc. up front. And blank aforementioned therapist is like, hey, if you were buying one of those sprays as a gift, what would you recommend? So I'm like, I don't know its preference, but my favorite is the Prosecco Bellini scent, I guess. This girl's like, okay, thanks for the help. Comes back 5 minutes later to the break room with that spray and candle and a gift bag for me. Literally wanted to cry. Anyways, just remembered that 4 years later, spraying it on my blinds to get my cat to stop eating them. To hell with anyone who was mean to her. She was the only therapist to get me anything when I left. Crazy how just showing some kindness can be a lot. Like just giving someone the time of day, even if it's not easy, routine small talk. Hope she's great, one of my favorite people. I smile every time I see that little room spray and thought this was a good place for that story. And I think it's kind of funny, if not hilarious, that OP is now using this to spray their blinds at home. Sorry, I lowered the mic volume because I just looked at Audacity, which is like, oh, that's clipping a lot, so. But yeah. Like, I think it's super sweet that, like, you somewhat had their back and gave them compliments while those other people were being told dicks and rude. And that's super duper sweet. So, we're gonna move on to our next story by Big Project 3151. How we surprised my husband's grandmother. About this time last year, my husband had some time off coming up, so we decided to use some of that time to go on vacation out of state and visit family and bring my mother-in-law along, as she hadn't seen her mother, a sister, and nephew since our wedding in 2017 and hadn't seen the rest of her family in years. There were plans for some of them to come visit in 2020, but the bug struck and all travel plans were cancelled. Curse you, plague! My husband and I visited them with them for a couple of days in 2018 with one of my sisters, when one of my sisters got married and was living in the same state as them. Missing an S, that's fine. They hadn't met our son yet, as I was pregnant with him in 2018. So we decided to surprise them with a visit. The only people that knew we were coming were her youngest sister, Deb, a nephew. He was still living at home and could keep us posted about what was happening in the house, and a younger sister, Tay, as it would give Deb an excuse to visit the third and final sister's house, where my husband's grandmother lives, without raising suspicion. We arrived a few minutes before Grandma got home from work and hid in the live-in basement and waited. When we heard his grandmother arrive, we waited a minute before sending my mother-in-law up. Her mother screamed when she saw her eldest and asked what my mother-in-law was doing there, and she replied that we decided that she needed a vacation and sent her to visit. After 2 minutes, my husband, our son, and I quickly made. I guess they quickly made their way up. So that's super sweet. There's no comments. I'm not sure if there was more to this and that OP just didn't realize they didn't type it, but that's like super sweet to just show up and visit. Though also very anxiety inducing, but to like show up and see Grandma and like give her like a nice little surprise. That's super duper sweet and adorable. And we're gonna go and visit. Well, not visit. We're not visiting anyone. I personally don't like showing up at anyone's house, like, just out of the blue random. I'm very weird about that. But it is nice to go see your grandparents, make it like a little surprise. Have someone there that can kind of like keep tabs. So that you know, hey, now's a good time, now's not a good time, stuff like that. Our next story is by DaisyGL_R. I wanted to share this in the slight chance the woman who helped me reads this. Yesterday I had a long train ride, and I started to feel ill. Another burp. I chalked this up as a motion sickness because I was looking at my phone, and I took a break. A while after, I started feeling worse and figured it was just because I was tired from standing, since the train at the time was full. As my stop approached, all sound around me became muffled, and it got very hard to see. I stumbled my way out of the train before running to a bench to throw up. A lady standing near a pillar saw me and asked if I was okay. She went to get the station crew to come up to see me, and she gave me some tissues. Since she was on her way home, she asked if I had someone picking me up or what their car looked like. She found my dad and sent him over to get me. Sad she didn't come up with him, as I didn't get the chance to thank her. If you're reading this, thank you so much for showing me such kindness. I really appreciate it. And that lady is super duper nice and sweet. Our next story is from your local trash man. A la 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 la. Read words correctly, please. Please, tongue, work with me. We read these to practice my fucking speech, for Christ's sake. A military woman thanked me for my service as a goodwill worker, and I never felt more appreciated. So I work at Goodwill, and I've been working there for a while, and today was pretty shitty day. From my manager being an asshole to customers complaining about me being quiet when my nose is stuffy and it hurts to talk. I take in donations and sort through everything and throw away what we don't sell/need, and towards the end of my shift, a lady pulls up to make a donation. And at first I didn't see her uniform that she was wearing when I was inside. So I went out to her and helped her out, and she was very nice. And when I noticed her uniform, I thanked her for her service. Usually when I thank veterans or army people, they always say you're welcome or no problem. But when she said, and thank you for your service, it made me feel like I was actually appreciated for doing my job, even though allergies have been kicking my ass. When she left, all I could do was smile about our interaction, and I've been thinking about it all day, and I hope that if that lady who thanked me sees this, I just want to say thank you for making my day better. And that's just super sweet. It's always nice when, those tiny little interactions are what, just makes your day so much better. So, we're going to continue forward. Fun note, remember to thank the service workers who were absolutely kind to you. Our next story is by Blood X, titled Reunited with Mom. Apologies for grammar, English isn't my first language, and I have dyslexia. If it matters, I'm 19, non-binary, using the they-them pronouns. Anyway, the wholesome story. I had plans to go shopping for my parents to get them some Valentine gifts. Was on my way to the last store when I saw a little child standing still with no parent in sight. I slowed down and looked around if I could see the mom. The mom called for the child, but it didn't seem like the child wanted to come along. So I kneeled down a bit to become on eye level with the child and held out my hand while saying, "Let's go back to Mama." The child looked a bit curious at me and then my headset. I understood why, since I have horns and a crown attachments to my headset. Picture attached for those who are curious to see the headset attachments. I let the child take my hand on their own, and we walked together to Mom, which I could see her say something in the form of thank you, and I personally didn't hear it because I had my music on, but I replied with my pleasure in my own language. I said, I'm not going to attempt to pronounce that. I'm not even sure what language that is, and I'm a bit afraid to mispronounce that. And I went on my way after waving bye to the child. I know it's a short story, but that little warm moment warmed up my day, and I will not forget it. I hope it also brought a smile to you guys' face. I always say the small gestures are most appreciated. And it really is the smallest of things. And here's the picture that OP provided. The headset, the way it is, because if you're watching the speed paint version of this, probably will be too lazy to attach it. So I will verbally describe it. The headset version, it looks like it's red. It does have a little crown attached. And what they called horns. They're kind of circular, so I feel like at a certain angle, it would kind of look like Minnie Mouse. Which I think is cool, or Mickey Mouse. Because it's kind of circular. So I feel like it would be from the side, but it would be great But it looks cool, and I see how, like, a little kid would, like, stop and stare and be like, oh, that's awesome. Our next story is by Is S4R4H XXX. How a table of ladies went out their way to make my niece comfortable due to her being painfully shy. So my niece, who's 6, will be 7 in April. She had this kind of severe shyness. We think it was somehow taught in school. She pretty much started school when COVID hit, and she was taught not to mix with other people, etc. True. Be very careful of the plague that is about there. But also, with the plague being there, it's a lot of, hey, make sure you wash your hands, don't intermingle. We're going to have online classes, so that time of, like, getting to know people and, like, socialize and figure out how to be social is normally typically for kids in that elementary school range. And so when you don't do standard elementary school and you haven't really had what is considered normal elementary, it's like, woo. So it's understandable that little girl is painfully shy. Super cute, though. But we're still trying to figure out and how we can help her overcome it somehow. Anyway, to the story. So, it was last Christmas. And every year, 23rd to be exact, we have a family Christmas party. Somewhat kind of a staff Christmas party, since it's a thing my dad and uncle's electrical business, since the business days, pays for the expenses. When we do this, we have a sort of separate guys party and girls, where we go separately for lunch and then join back for a party, kind of like a stag hen party. Then we meet together to finish it off, kind of thing. Anyway, we were having dinner, just as ladies, as we were waiting for our food to arrive. My niece needed to go to the bathroom, but she was afraid to move, as she needed to slide a few seats to one end of the table and passing another table where 4 ladies were sitting. The place was a bit of a small pub. She was too shy to pass the table where there were 4 ladies sitting, since I wasn't able to do much myself, as I was in a wheelchair due to a bad knee injury. I couldn't really get up and help her, but when the 4 ladies started to notice what was going on, my mom explained to these ladies, "I'm sorry, girls, my granddaughter is painfully shy around people." Then my niece asked me, "Oh, P, I don't want them to look at me." So I looked up to the ladies and just said back to my niece, hoping the ladies would hear, "It's okay, baby, they're not looking at you. They are just 4 lovely ladies who are enjoying their Christmas party just like we are." And the ladies clocked something, so we all covered their eyes. So they all covered their eyes and said, "Don't worry, we're not looking." Which then my niece got up and went to the bathroom with my brother's girlfriend. Then, as my niece returned, the ladies who were eating dinner noticed, stopped what they were doing, and covered their eyes again so my niece can return to her seat. As thanks, I got out of my wheelchair, carefully made my way to the bar, and asked the bar staff to send a bottle of Prosecco to their table. On me, of course, as thanks. And that's super sweet. They're just like, "Oh, painfully shy little girl, she's afraid to be looked at. We can do something to help this." And that's adorable. And I have tears in my eyes because I'm an overly emotional bag of emotions and all that stuff. So yay. But it's super cute, super sweet. And I hope everyone's having a good day, that you're staying hydrated. Remember to drink your water. Personally, I'm just excited. We finally have more Pokemon in English on Netflix, so I'm excited to watch that. I'm also really excited because Ash is no longer going to be in the Pokemon series, so I'm excited to see the next season, but I'm also really excited to see how they end it with what I believe they said it was a 12 episode, like, little mini series to wrap up, like, Ash's story arc. So I'm excited. So if you watch Pokemon or you liked any of these wholesome stories, go ahead and tell me something, like a wholesome story of your own, or better yet, like, what is your favorite Pokemon, like, that you would like. I'm quite curious. So thank you all for being here, and have a lovely day. Bye bye!